I am going to walk you through the Module 2 study guide. We're going to start with multiplication. 9 times 2 is 18. Put the 8, carry the 1. 9 times 7 is 63, plus 1 is 64. I'm done with the ones position, so I'm going to cross it out and my regrouping. Don't forget to put a 0. This is the number one missed mistake. 2 times 2 is 4. 2 times 7 is 14. Add. 8 plus 0 is 8. 4 plus 4 is 8. 6 plus 4 is 10. Carry the 1. So your answer is 2,000. The next problem is 156 times 18. 6 times 8 is 48. Put the 8 in the ones place. Carry the 4 to the tens place. 8 times 5 is 40. Don't forget to add your 4, so you're at 44. 8 times 1, or 8 times 100 is 800. 8 plus 4 is 12. We're done with our first set of regrouping. We're done with our ones place. So don't forget that 0. 1 times 6, which is actually 10 times 6, so 60. Or 10 times 50, 1 times 5 is 5. 1 times 1 is 1. Or 10 times 100 is 1,000. Then we're going to add 8 plus 0 is 8. 4 plus 6 is 10. 5 plus 2 is 7. Plus 1 is 8. 1 plus 1 is 2. 2,808. Next is 367 times 6. 6 times 7 is 42. The 2, carry the 4. 6 times 6 is 36, plus 4 is 40. 6 times 3 is 18. 18 plus 4 is 22. The next one is a word problem, still using multiplication. The fastest speed of the red car on the racetrack is 6 times faster than the speed of the blue car. If the blue car is traveling at 24 miles an hour, how fast was the red car? So we need to first question, what is the question asking us? So how fast was the red car? Okay, if you want to draw a picture, the picture might be helpful. What information do we need? So we know the fastest speed of the red car is 6 times faster than the speed of the blue car. If the blue car is traveling at 24 miles an hour, so 24 miles an hour is the blue car, and we know the red car goes 6 times faster than the blue car. And what we need to know is how fast was the red car. So 24 miles an hour is how fast the blue car is going. And we know the red car is 6 times faster. So I'm going to multiply 24 times 6. 6 times 4 is 24. 6 times 2 is 12, plus 2 is 14. And don't forget your label. So this is actually 144 miles per hour. So the next piece I always recommend is going back and does this make sense? So we said the fastest speed of the red car, fastest speed of the red car on the racetrack is 6 times faster than the speed of the blue car. So we know the red car goes faster than the blue car. The blue car is going 24 miles per hour. So then if we said the red car goes 144 miles per hour, that does make sense. The red car would be faster than the blue car. In the next problem, it says, in Mrs. Barr's car, 1 gallon of gas allows her to drive 23 miles. Her gas tank contains 19 gallons of gas. How many miles can she drive on this gas? So important information is, what is the question asking? How many miles can she drive on this gas? So how many miles can she drive on this gas is what we want to answer. 1 gallon, she can drive 23 miles. And she has 19 gallons. So what we need to do is we need to multiply 23 miles times 19 gallons to figure out how many miles she can drive. 9 times 3 is 27. 9 times 2 is 18, plus 2 is 20. We're done with our ones place and our regrouping. We are going to remember our 0. 1 times 3 is 3. 1 times 2 is 2. And then we are going to add. 7 plus 0 is 7. 3 plus 0 is 3. 2 plus 2 is 4. And that means she can drive 437 miles. Becky is going to buy a new bike. One costs $79 and the other costs 4 times as much. Becky is saving $18 each week to buy the more expensive bike. How much did the more expensive bike cost? This is part 1 of our question, and part 2 is how much money will she have saved after 6 weeks. So we're going to start with this one. How much did the more expensive bike cost? So what information do we need from this problem? So one costs $79 and the other costs 4 times as much. So that is the more expensive bike. So $79 times 4, because this more expensive bike costs 4 times as much. 9 times 4 is 36. 7 times 4 is 28, plus 3, 29, 30, 31. So the more expensive bike costs $316. So the second question is, how much money will she have saved after 16 weeks? So this is our first question for the expensive bike. And it says she's saving $18 each week. How much will she have saved after 16 weeks? So this one we're going to do $18 times 16 weeks. 6 times 8 is 48. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 4 is 10. We're done with our ones and our regrouping. We're going to remember our 0. 1 times 8 is 8. 1 times 1 is 1. And then we'll add. So after 16 weeks, she will have saved $288. The rest of the study guide is all volume, and if you remember, to find volume, the formula is length times width times height. So if you look at this one, our length here is 3 cubes. Always label it. Our width is 1, 2, 3, 4, and our height is 2. So our equation would be 3 times 4 times 2. 3 times 4 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. And volume is measured in cubic units. For this one, this is there. If you remember, I said highlight where you would break it apart because we have to find the volume of 2 cubes and then add them together. So I'm going to do the pink one first. The length is 2. The width is 1, 2, 3, 4. The height is 1, so 2 times 4 times 1. And that would equal 8 cubic units. Then the second one, the length is 2, the height is 3, the width is 1, 2, 3, 4. So this would be 4 times 3 times 2. 4 times 3 is 12. 12 times 2 is 24. Then the last step would be to add 24 plus 8. 8 plus 4 is 12. 1 plus 2 is 3, so that would give us 32 units cubed for the entire shape. Again, the formula for finding volume is length times width times height. So for our length, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Our width is 1, 2, 3, and our height is 2. So 5 times 3 times 2. 5 times 3 is 15. 15 times 2 is 30. And remember, it's units cubed. find the volume. This has given you the dimensions, so we have 20 times 8 times 16. I know 20 times 8, and I can do that in my brain. That's 160, and we still have times 16. This one I'm going to do using the standard algorithm. 6 times 0 is 0. 6 times 6 is 36. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 3 is 9. I'm done with my ones place. I'm going to remember my 0. 1 times 0 is 0. 1 times 6 is 6. 1 times 1 is 1. And then I'm going to add them together. So the volume is 2,560. Now it tells us it's centimeters, so it's going to be centimeters cubed. This is another rectangular prism that has two parts, so I'm going to highlight where I would break it apart. I'm going to do the pink one first. So we know our length is 3, our height is 6, my width is 5. So I'm going to say 3 times 6 times 5. I know that 6 times 5 is 30. 30 times 3 is 90. So I know this is 90 meters cubed. And then I'm going to do the one on the bottom. So I know it's 8 times 5 times 5. 8 times 5 is 40. 40 times 5 I can do in my brain because I know 4 times 5 is 20. And then add my 0. So that's going to be 200 meters cubed. And then I just need to add it together. 200 plus 90 is 290 meters cubed. This one, it says the volume of a rectangular prism is 40 inches cubed. Find the missing measurements. This is where I suggest factoring it out. Sometimes it's hard to come up with 3 numbers that multiply to a single number. So I like to think what 2 numbers multiply together to get to the big number. So I know that in my brain that 20 times 2 is 40, and I'm going to choose to break apart the 20, and I know that 20, I can multiply 5 and 4 to get to 20. So my dimensions are going to be 5 times 4 times 20, or times 2, and it doesn't matter which is which. So I'm going to say my length is 5 inches. I know it's inches because it tells me that in the problem. 5 inches. 4 inches is my width, and 2 inches is my height. And last, it says find the composite volume, which just means what is the total volume of this shape. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to draw a line all the way across so then I know where to split it. I'm still going to highlight just so I know. Now we're going to have to use some of the other information to figure out the missing pieces. So if this whole bottom is 6 feet and this portion is 4 feet, I can tell you that this part right here is 2 feet. It may not be something you need. Same thing goes here. If this is 3 feet, this is 4 feet. That means this piece is also 4 feet because parallel sides are the same. So this top one is going to be, it looks like it's a cube, so my, oh no, it's not a cube. Because this is 2, this would also be 2, which would also make this part 2 as well. So here I have my length is 2 feet, my height is 4 feet, and my width, I know this part is 4 feet, so I know this part right here would be 4 feet. So I have 2 times 4 times 4. So I have 8 times 4. 8 times 4 is 32. And then I still have to multiply by 4. 32 times 4. I don't know that off the top of my head, so I'm going to use the standard algorithm. 4 times 2 is 8. 4 times 3 is 12. So this part is 128 cubic feet. Now, I'm not done yet. Don't forget to do the bottom part. Just because you completed one, you still have to add the volume of the second one. So this one's fairly straightforward. I have 6 feet times 2 feet times 3 feet. I know that 2 times 3 is 6, and I know that 6 times 6 is 36. And again, cubic feet. I'm going to add 128 plus 36. 8 plus 6 is 14. 3 plus 2 is 5, plus 1 is 6. So I have 164 cubic feet is my volume. So I'm going to write that over here.